welcome to our, what are we doing? Strawberries and cream today. So it's gonna be a lot of fun. So what I wanted to share with you guys is certainly something fun and easy, and it's a non-cook, and it's fast, and it's such a great recipe to do for the summer. But before I do, I don't know if you guys had any questions or anything you guys wanted to ask me, so you can type it right in on the chat box. And my son Vito over here, my little helper, but I'm not allowed to call you my little helper. He's gonna man messages. So if you guys want to ask me anything before we get started, and a few people are still jumping on, that'd be great. This is our Cooking Italian with Joe kitchen. Anything about Italy? I'm headed to Italy next week. We're going to be in Vico del Gargano, just above the heel, which will be great. And if you guys know how to message, just on the bottom corner, you can message us. No big questions. Everybody's excited. Everybody's fired up. You got some video, some people on there, Vito, or no?
Yeah, Veronica looks really excited.
Veronica, you fired up? Does anybody want me to unmute him? You can unmute somebody if you want.
Most memorable meal in Italy.
Most memorable meal in Italy would be, I was in Rome a number of years ago, and I was, normally I always go to those, I think as a tourist, you go to the main restaurants along the way, and everything was mobbed. It was a hot summer day. So we had gone down this little side street, and just kind of a mom and pop restaurant, and I had gnocchis with butter and sage, and it was fantastic. And they had a little truffle on it. It was, yeah. So I still remember that. That was fantastic. I think it was prosecco, and then I had something for dessert, which I don't remember, which was fantastic as well. So I still carry those 5 pounds from those gnocchis right here. I think they're still here. So any other questions? No. Oh. So that was my favorite. There's so many in there, Jenna. There's a couple of beautiful restaurants. I think more often than what tastes great, which there's so many meals that you're going to have that taste great. But I think what is more memorable to me is where you eat. You know, there's these places, like you go to the Amalfi Coast, or there's a few places in Vico del Gargano or Peschici or Vieste or Rodi, where, you know, you're on the side of this hill, and the food, don't get me wrong, the food's delicious, but combined with that is you get this view of the sea, and, you know, and then you get the aroma of the sea and the setting and the lighting. It's unbelievable. We did a bean recipe from Tuscany, and I had something very similar in Tuscany a number of years ago, and I did that recipe this week. In fact, we're going to post it on YouTube, and it's so simple. It's just beans and tomatoes and garlic, and you kind of cook it down a little bit with some sage, and man, I'll tell you, it's so simple but so delicious. So so a lot of fun. But today we're doing dolce. Today we're going to do something what we call, how do we gain some weight in a short amount of time? So this is how you do it. So you're going to get cream and strawberries and sugar with some lady fingers, and you're going to have some fun. All right, so I think I'm going to get rocking and rolling. We'll get going right here. So I got a little cheat sheet here, so I want to make sure I got all my recipes. I'll have a printed version of this for everybody as well. So this is a tiramisu. So this is a tiramisu. So we're going to break that word down. That word actually means a quick pick-me-up. It's actually the history of that is actually from Venice, or Venetian, and the story goes, there was a brothel, and the women on different shifts would come in, and they would grab something quick with a lot of caffeine and a lot of sugar in it. So that's originally where that original recipe came from. So the chocolate and the caffeine, and often it's made with like a liqueur or whiskey in there, which is great. But in this case, we're going to take a version of that. We're going to do strawberries. So I love mascarpone cheese. It's just absolutely delicious. Obviously, it's the Italian version of New York cream cheese, and it's thick, and it's got that little tang, a little acidic. It's actually from Lombardy, Italy. So we're going to combine that with cream and sugar and strawberries, and then we're going to use our lady fingers in order to make the same like a traditional tiramisu, we're going to use that to make the strawberries. So I'm going to go over, let me go over ingredients. We'll go from there. We're going to use strawberries, obviously, as our main theme. So we're going to want to make a dipping sauce for the ladyfingers. So normally with a traditional version of this recipe, you're going to dip them in coffee and a liquor. In this case, we're going to dip them in a strawberry liquid, and we're going to use some jam. So I've got about 1/3 cup of jam, strawberry jam ideally, though it doesn't have to be, and a better quality would be great. So if it's made from that really true strawberry mix with the seeds and everything, it's just going to give you that extra pop, some deliciousness. So I've got 1/3 cup of strawberry jam. I've got 1 teaspoon of balsamic vinegar. So it sounds kind of crazy. We're going to add a little bit of an acid, but balsamic is actually very sweet. And the beauty of that is the balsamic vinegar, as crazy as it is, will actually bring out the flavor of the strawberries. So when you add it to it, and if you guys follow some of the traditional dessert cooking, you're going to see they'll use balsamic, and it all has to do with the chemistry in your mouth. So you're going to have that acid, which is going to kind of break down a little bit more of the strawberry, and the strawberry then is going to release a little bit more flavor. That's why a lot of times you'll add, like, for example, like a vodka sauce. You'll add a vodka in the tomato, and actually almost like a solvent opens up a little bit more of the flavor within the tomato. All right, I'll quick gab in here. So we got nutmeg. So we're going to use about 1/8 teaspoon of nutmeg. Fresh ground is really only the way to go. So if you fresh grind this, what'll happen is it releases more of the aroma, but the oils, as soon as you grind it and you set it aside or buy it store-bought, and if that's the only way to go, that you do what you got to do. But try to get that fresh ground because it really changes everything. And the aroma of that it's just delicious. Nutmeg actually comes from that southern portion of Italy. So Sicily was on the trade routes. So you're going to see a lot of spices that came from India. You're going to see some spices that came from Tunisia. They were actually through Greece. Everything came through Sicily. So that's why you're going to see a lot more spices in Southern Italian cooking. And that's originally where nutmeg came from. It's delicious. We got a question, Vito?
Yeah, we did have a question from Annika, and I believe she corrected herself. How long in advance of serving can I make this?
Yeah, ideally you'd like to make it about 6 to 8 hours before. It doesn't have to be. I will tell you it's delicious regardless, because you're going to dunk these in the liquid so it'll soften them. But boy, if you could set it in a good, I'd say a minimum of 4 hours, that's 6 to 8 hours, everything's going to marry. And that's a great question. In fact, there's quite a few recipes, and I've seen this served in Italy many times, where they'll actually put it in more of a decorative dish, a round dish, and then they put it under pressure and they pull it out the next day. That's another great way to serve it. We did something simple here because a lot of the people are more novices that we deal with on a lot of these shows. So I wanted to make something simple and easy so pretty much anybody can make it. So we've got 1 teaspoon of vanilla, and really go for a great quality vanilla if you can. I mean, again, there's not a lot of ingredients here, but the quality of the ingredients, that's one thing you'll notice with Italian cooking. They don't have a lot of ingredients, but the ingredients are always fresh and they're really top quality. So that's really important. Now, this is a dolce, so we're gonna want some sugar. So we've got 1/2 cup of powdered sugar we're gonna use, and then we're gonna use 3 tablespoons, and I set that aside because we're going to sprinkle the top. One of the things I know that I love to do is I love to sprinkle it with powdered sugar because I want that first hit of a dolce, of a dessert. I want that first hit to be sweet. I really want to get overwhelmed with that sweetness, which is great. We're going to use some strawberries. So I went to the store today. I bought fresh strawberries, and I have 2 cups of sliced strawberries. I'm going to show you exactly how I did that in a minute here, but 2 cups of sliced strawberries. And I grabbed some other berries too. You can use anything you want. I got some blueberries. You can use blackberries. You can incorporate those within. You can top it off. So we'll touch on that. We'll talk about that. We've got 1 cup of heavy whipping cream. Love cream. I'm a guy that I love custards. I love egg yolks. I love sugar. I love heavy cream. I love mascarpone cheese. we've got 1 cup of mascarpone cheese. So I don't want to say it's at room temperature, but almost. So if you get it too cold, it's going to be a little bit too hard to work with, but you don't want to warm it up because if you get it too warm, it'll break. So I pulled it out of the refrigerator about a half hour ago. I put it in the dish. So again, it's 1 full cup of the mascarpone cheese. Obviously, we're going to need our lady fingers here. So you guys can make these. I find it kind of tedious and takes the fun out of making this dish if I got to make lady fingers fresh. So I went to the Italian store, and most stores will carry these, certainly Mediterranean stores. So I've got about 24, 28 of these, and these are great. They're going to be made with eggs and the yolk. You're using that as a leavening agent, so you're whipping up your egg yolks and your egg whites and some flour and some sugar, and they're really delicious. So I've got about 24, 26 of those. We're going to want some lemon zest. So I'm going to take 1 big lemon, and I'm going to use the zest of that entire lemon. And lemon, I always say, brings sunshine into a dish. It's delicious, but there's a cleansing of the palate as well. It cleanses it. So by cleansing the palate, you're going to get a little bit of the lemon flavor, but you're also going to get an enhancement of all the other flavors. So that's what lemon does, or citrus does, to any dish. Now we're going to have a little fun. So we're going to add some Prosecco in this dish. All right. So we're going to use the Prosecco, and I'll show you here in a minute, with some of our other ingredients. We're going to use that as our dipping solution to soften our lady fingers, which is great. Again, traditional recipe, you're going to use coffee and liquor. In this case, we're going to add a little liquor. We're going to add some Prosecco because it's always more fun with Prosecco. And everything does go better with Prosecco, doesn't it? And then with my strawberry jam and my balsamic, again, you're adding different fermentation flavor. You're adding some sweetener, which is great. And you're going to add a little acid, which is fantastic. For some people, I get that question a lot about alcohol. So they're going to ask me, hey, listen, what happens if I want to make it without alcohol? So that's what I got here. I got some Pellegrino. So if you don't want to use Prosecco, you can use some Pellegrino. So I know when we were growing up as kids, 4 years old, we were always allowed to have a little wine. Now that I'm older, I can have a little bit more wine. But we were always allowed to have a little something. And a little splash in there certainly doesn't have any alcoholic content to cause. But for religious purposes or personal reasons, if you don't want to use Prosecco, certainly you would switch over to Pellegrino. It's a great alternative. Last but not least is olive oil. So the olive oil doesn't go in this dish, but for anybody new to me, maybe a lot of people are familiar with Maria. I own a farm in Italy. It's right in Vico del Gargano, right in Puglia. And we actually make our own olive oil, and we ship it here to the United States and then sell it in the United States. And it's Italian extra virgin olive oil. So something you're interested, just go to my website. You guys can grab yourself a few bottles of olive oil. We'll drop ship it right to your front doorstep. So a lot of fun and very, very delicious. So my helper Vito is right over here. So I named the company after my 2 boys, Vito and Joey. So, all right. So what do you say? Let's get started. So the first thing we want to do is we want to get our cheese mixture ready to go, because we want that to set and marry with flavor before we start getting our liquid dip. So I'm going to move everything over. This is obviously live TV here, real time. So I'm going to move some things over out of the way. And that. So first thing we're going to want to do, any questions, Vito?
Yeah, as we're getting started, Jenna said that she's really looking forward to trying this at home. That traditional tiramisu is one of her favorites.
Oh, yeah. Well, totally different, but absolutely just as delicious. This one is. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my 1 cup of mascarpone cheese. And again, see how it's a little softer? So it's not really hard. Again, not room temp, but almost. And then what I want to do here is I want to flavor it. I definitely want to flavor it, and I definitely want to soften it. So I'm going to put my whole cup here of cream right in the dish, because the consistency of the cheese is going to be too thick. And when you spread it over the lady finger, it'll break apart the lady fingers. So they're going to be too soft. But you don't want to make it too soupy either. We're also going to put in our vanilla. So let me move this out of the way. We're going to put our vanilla in here as well. Oh, I love vanilla. Vanilla is, you know, I'm sure anyone that does any baking or cooking, you had that experience when you're a little kid. I remember smelling that. I don't remember how old I was, probably 5 or 6 years old. And it would always smell delicious to me. And then you would taste it, it's direct vanilla, and it's absolutely terrible, you know. So I always say it's one of the times in your life where you realize how important sugar is. So yes, Vito. Oh, hi, Maria. So Maria just joined us. All right, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my sugar. I'm going to add my powdered sugar right into my cheese. And now what I want to do is I want to add that nutmeg. So I'm going to add at least 1/8 of a teaspoon. I'll tell you, this is just, nutmeg to me is delicious. It goes so well with cheese, and it's often used more often, I find, with a dolce, with something sweet, than it is with whoop. That nutmeg so fresh, it went right in my dish, or it jumped right out of my hand. And it will it goes good with savory too, but I really love it with dolce, anything sweet. And when you go to Sicily, again, that's all over down there. I mean, it is literally all over the place. So I'm going to go 1/8 of a teaspoon, maybe a little bit more. There it is. Set that aside. Good. Let me move that right over here. And Vito, you're my man. Beautiful. Thanks, buddy. And then what I want to do here is just kind of give it a soft mix with my spoon. In this case, my spatula. And let me tell you why we're doing that. We're going to use a hand mixer to mix this. And if you leave the clump of cheese in the middle, it'll catch and often will splatter all over yourself. So, and that's not something I've read. It's something I've experienced personally. So that makes a disaster. So I'm going to go ahead and just spread this across. And now what we want to do is we want to blend this till it's smooth, and it's going to be an easy spread, something really soft and delicious and spread. Great. So I'm going to hit it right over here. And Vito, if you want to grab the camera quick, and you can just leave it right on the tripod. Just walk over and you can tip it up just so they can see in there. And then, yeah. So at first it seems a little bit watery, but as you mix it, you don't want to whip it. You're not looking to incorporate a lot of foam in there. You're only going to do about 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes tops. Just nice and slow. And everything will just start to mix really well. Beautiful. And then once you're like about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, you've got this mixed really well. I always like to add a little bit of extra air to it. And you're not looking necessarily for whipped cream, but you're looking to cream it up a little bit. So first about 1.5 minutes or 2, don't try to whip a lot of things in there. You're trying to get it nice and smooth. And then, like I said, after those first 2 minutes, just give it a little bit more of a whip, and you can get a little bit of air, and you want to make it like a smooth pudding. So Vito, if you can get that, that would be great. And I'll tell you, I know you guys can't get that at home, but the aroma of that, see how nice and smooth that is? And see how it's starting to hold it? It's not like a stiff peak, but it's starting to hold the pattern. Beautiful. That's exactly what I want right there. Perfect. And you can see right there that it came out great. There's a way to taste this to make sure you know it's good. Both of them are equally good. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator here for a few minutes. Cool it down. It'll stiffen it up. We're going to get those strawberries ready. Beautiful. Get this out of the way. Next, what I want to do is I want to cut the strawberries. Now, what I like to do in this, and it looks aesthetically better, is, and I already went ahead and did this to save us time, but what I like to do is I like to cut the strawberry along the side so I get a nice, big, beautiful piece of the strawberry. So if you cut it the other way, this way, it usually doesn't look as good. So not that that's really complicated, but so what I'm going to do, and I take every piece, I save every piece. So I'm going to cut it right from the little bit, and I'll show you how we use those. And I just cut it all the way across. And my attitude is I don't like to cut it too thick, because if I cut it too thick, then it's too hard to eat. I want to be able to bite through the strawberry and not have a big hunk of strawberry, if you will. It just makes it a little easier. I get right to the bottom, and then on these other sections, I'm just going to come in at a diagonal so I can save every bit of that deliciousness. That's absolutely perfect. It's exactly what I want. I'm going to go ahead and throw this in here. Now I've got my strawberry ready. Next, I got to get my dipping sauce ready for the ladyfingers. So what I've got here is just a simple bowl, and I want to put in my jam. So I've got my strawberry jam. Like I said, a lot of times when you go to these little bakeries, they really go full out. I mean, the display cases of their desserts in Italy, I've never seen anything like it before. It's just so gorgeous. There's a little there's a coffee shop, dessert shop in the village that we go to. It's called the Pizzicato, and it is unbelievable. I mean, the cannolis they make with a ricotta cheese, it's made with a sheep's ricotta, which is the original version from Sicily, and what they call impastata. It's like a very smooth version. And I'll tell you, man, it is the best cannoli I've ever had in my life. We're having some trouble with the cork. Here, I'm gonna let Young and Strong over there take care of it. Yeah, it's a gentle, just try not to break the top off. So while Vito's helping me out, I'm going to add my balsamic to my jam. And then we're going to give it a stir. He's got it, my man. And Vito, if you can zoom in on this, that would be great. So one of the things I realized when I make this is some of the jam, because it's a really good quality, it'll lump up on you a little bit. So give it a stir. I always add the balsamic first and then give it a stir and then just break that up because I want everything really smooth. Oh yeah, and then it gets fun. We're going to put this together literally in a couple of minutes. And I made one already, which is going to be great. Favorite part of this is tasting it. So I'm just breaking all those little pieces apart because we're going to use all this. Whatever we don't use in the dipping portion, we're gonna tablespoon it on top of the. There you go. Tablespoon it on top of the ladyfingers. All right, so that's pretty smooth. And then what I want to do is I want to do my zest. I want to do the zest of my lemon. So let me grab my. There it is. Grab my microplaner here, and I'm going to use the whole lemon. And again, you're using the zest of the lemon. And what's beautiful about the zest is it's essentially the oils of the lemon, and it actually has a smoother, better flavor, I think. And it's a little softer. And the beauty of that is you're using the acid from the balsamic. So that'll extract it a little bit like a limoncello where you use the alcohol to extract as a solvent. Oh, the aroma of that is absolutely fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and use this whole thing and then. And Vito, if I know you're doing a lot for me and I appreciate it. If you can unmute Maria, if she's still on. Yeah, if she can unmute. I don't know, Maria, if she can unmute, but I'd love to hear your voice. And I know a lot of people tune in to hear you and see you anyway, so.
What was that? Yeah, we can hear you. It's a little thing.
Hi, Maria.
Hi, how are you doing?
There you are.
There I am, yes. Well,
Tutto bene, grazie.
so good. Oh my goodness, looks really good.
Then we're going to add our Prosecco. So we're going to use a half of a cup. Now, let me tell you how you portion out Prosecco. You guess. Okay. So I'm not going to use a measuring cup here. So we're going to go about a half of a cup. Oh, boy, that's good. And I love that initial portion. You get that fermentation, you know, the aroma of the fermentation, which is great. Vito, if you want to zoom in here really quick. Yeah. See any of those little bits? We're just going to smooth out. So we want a good amount of liquid in there. And actually, I'm going to add just a little bit more of the Prosecco because I want to make sure I got enough to absorb into the ladyfingers. So now this is our strawberry liquid, which is concentrated. Again, I got the balsamic in there, so that's going to enhance the flavor. I got the lemon in there. Oh, it's just fantastic. All right, so I'm set there. Let me move everything out of the way. Perfect. And now what I want to do is I want to start putting this thing together. So I'm going to take the dish. Vito, I'll need you to help out. So I've got my dish. Now, typically 8 by 8-ish will be fine. So something like that size will be great. Now I've got my liquid. I'm going to grab my lady fingers. This is great to do with the kids, by the way, something really fun. And then I'm going to grab my mascarpone mixture. Let me hit it like this. And then V, what I'm going to have you do, if you can, is just kind of zoom in on me for a minute. So we're going to take our lady fingers, not that this is complicated, but it's kind of fun to watch. So I'm going to take my lady fingers, and I don't want to leave it in there really long. I'm just going to do a quick dip. So I'm going to dip, spin it 2 or 3 times, let it absorb a little bit of that liquid. Okay, and then I'm going to just set it right in the dish. And I'm just going to organize them. So just take your time, have some fun, play some Frank Sinatra, Jerry Vale for those that really like Italian music. I'm really good at it, so I'm going to do 2 at a time. And you can see where it really starts to absorb. As soon as I start to see those kind of dark spots, I know I got it right where I want it. Perfect. And just fill those up. Great. One of my favorite things to do when I go to Italy is I love to go to the wine tours. And there's a few people that, you know, we've gotten to know over the years there. And there's a few places they make Prosecco, which is, it's just delicious. One of the funny parts is you go over there, you can't believe how inexpensive everything is. You buy a bottle of Prosecco here versus there, and my God, it's dollars versus what it is here. Great. So I'm gonna grab a few more here. Beautiful. And this isn't critical here. Just put in your spots so they fit. These will start to soften up almost instantly. So just heads up on that. There you go. And then what I like to do, as soon as I do my first layer, I'm going to take a little bit of that liquid and just go over each one. It's just something I do. So I want to make sure I got a lot of fluid on there because again, we're trying to marry all these flavors. And if something maybe didn't get enough liquid on it, there you go. Perfect. Now that that's set, I want to put my first layer of cheese on it. So I'm going to grab my spoon. And you're going to take about half the amount here. So just, oh, isn't that great? Is anybody with me? Could you just like eat it like that? Because I could eat that just like that. Don't judge me. Whoop. Stuff's so fresh, it's flying right out of the bowl. And then what I'm going to do is watch it when you use the spoon, because you don't want to rub too hard against the cookie because it'll fall apart. See how they start to move around? So just go really gentle. Take your time. Get it all to those centers because it'll act kind of, see that one's popping up. It'll act like a glue almost. And there you go. Yep. And see if you get too close, it'll break those cookies up. So perfect. And as soon as I get it even, then I'm just going to spread it as even as I can. Is Maria still?
Yes, I am.
Maria, do you have any stories you want to tell about Italy? You got anything to share?
Let's see. Oh my gosh. Where to start? I was just going to say that looks so good. I just can't concentrate. Good. Oh my gosh. And fresh strawberries.
Yeah, so I'm going to take these and.
Did you, I made tiramisu with like all kinds of different things. I know Prosecco. Did you ever try it with limoncello? It's really good with limoncello.
Oh yes, or the ice cream, the gelato. Oh my God, for sure.
Yes. So the tiramisu, you dip the lady fingers in the limoncello is good too, but the Prosecco is really good as well. That's great. Yes. Yeah. Well, my favorite dessert in the summertime in Rome, they do this. It's so simple, but it's just so good because of the ingredients they use. Is just strawberries and lemon. Did you ever have that? And
no. Maria's talking about strawberries and lemon, guys, when she goes to Rome, Italy. I don't know if you guys can hear, but
in the summertime, it's just you quarter the strawberries. You add drizzle some fresh lemon juice on top, a tablespoon of sugar. You let that marinate for an hour, and then you serve it with some fresh mint. And it might be because you're eating it in the center of Rome, but that's what the strawberries remind me of. But this looks so good.
My father would get up in the morning and he would do strawberries, and he would take heavy cream, cut them up, and then he would just eat the strawberries in a bowl of not a lot of heavy cream, but some heavy cream and sugar, granulated sugar. So
exactly, nothing better.
Oh, okay, great. That's awesome. Thank you, Melody. I have two helpers here, Melody and Vito.
Oh, that's great. Wow.
All right, so now I did that first layer. So now I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna take my mixture here. I'm gonna dip them. And then, boom. What's great here, which I know you guys can't get it, the aroma here is fantastic. So you just get that. Great. Yeah, so we're headed out. We're headed out to Italy Thursday, which is great because of the restriction. There's COVID and everything. Almost everything's been lifted, so you got to get tested. But that'll make it easy to to travel and enjoy ourselves now that things have settled down, which is great for everybody. So
yeah. Oh wow.
It's so sad for everybody in the world when you can't share other cultures. It's just sad. So it's nice to be able to do that now. So same thing. I'm gonna bust it apart, kind of mix and match your pieces here a little. Beautiful. Perfect. And I'm running a little bit. What's that, Melody? Yeah, I'm gonna run here. You know what we got to do? We got to add a little bit more Prosecco there. I'm gonna stir it with my hand on that one. So perfect. Yep, let me mix that up a little. There it is. Beautiful. one got a little short on me for some reason. There it is. Perfect. I think I got one little piece there. I do. Yep. Great. And then same thing I'm going to do. I'm going to take that liquid and just go over the top of the cookies. You're trying to get the cookie to absorb it, the biscuit here, because you don't want your tiramisu to be tiramisu, as they say in Italian, to get it. You don't want the dish to be soggy. You just want your biscuits, your cookies to be soft. And then that just marries the flavor of everything. Oh, it's so good. So I'm going to put all of this in here, whatever I got left. And then just grab all those bits of lemon and strawberry, which is great. Great. Okay, awesome. Yeah, no, I'll get it off right there. That's extra protein. So I'll get that off. All right, there you go. Perfect. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the rest of my mix of cheese and pop it right in there. And then same thing, spread it. Same tip, just watch it when you go down because the lady fingers are getting really soft, which is what you want. Yeah, that's beautiful. This is such a great dish. You know, you get one of those really hot summer days, you know, because strawberries are great with that. And then strawberries and biscuits and cream is always great. There you go. Strawberry shortcake, one of my favorite summertime desserts. So this is kind of the Italian spin on it. Beautiful. And then same thing, just spread it nice and even. And the goal here is, you know, once you get it flat, you can put a little pressure on there, but you certainly want to get it to where all those spots are filled. Great. Great. Let me move this over to the side. And then we're going to hit it with our strawberries again. So we're just going to lay it out again. As far as the bowl left over with the cheese, if you're not on camera, you can actually lick that out of the bowl. So I'm just kidding. So Vito's probably going to hit that in a little bit. I know he's got his eye on it right now. So I don't know if you guys have had a chance ever to watch our, what did we do, Vito? We did the Nutella crepe.
Nutella crepes, then there's one more. I'm pretty sure it's apple dumplings.
Yes. Oh, apple dumplings. Yeah, we did one from the kitchen, and my son Vito's almost 19 now, but my God, to go back there and look at those videos, they feel like they were yesterday. And he was, yeah, you got it. He was such a little kid. We had a lot of fun. I was calling him my little helper during the shooting. He got mad at me. He said, "Stop calling me your little helper." So that's great. The great thing about this, I know I've talked about it already, is that just the aroma, you know, your strawberries, everything's fresh cut and delicious. And so I like to mix and match it a little so you don't have everything the same size. And then I'm going to use every bit of my strawberry that I can, and I'll just keep filling in the gaps. I think it just looks kind of cool. You know, Italy, you look at a lot of stuff and it's not perfect, but it's in the imperfection that it makes it look perfect, whether it's an old ruin or a pasta dish or some old restaurant, right, Maria? You walk down the streets of Rome and you find some little place you wouldn't think it would be anything, and it's the best food you've ever had in your life.
That's usually where I have the best memorable things, right? The place,
Yeah.
like the beads hanging on the doorway instead of a door. And, yep.
Yeah, it's just fantastic. So, yeah, that's good right there.
Jenna said that this would be a great dessert for the 4th of July.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. And again, it's got all those flavors. So somebody had asked initially about the length of time. So, you know, that 4 hours is great. Overnight is perfect on this. I mean, overnight would probably be the ideal. I don't know how much more of a marrying you'll get a flavor after 8 hours, but that is just delicious. So that's essentially where we're at. So then what we're going to do is we're going to cover that. So I'm going to cover this. Yeah. Just cover it up. Seal it up nice and tight. And then I'm going to pop this in the refrigerator. And we have to wait 8 hours, unfortunately. Okay, it's been 8 hours. So there's one that's been setting for quite a long time. So what it's going to do is it's actually going to get kind of cakey, right? You're making like a non-cooked cake. And what I like to do, we talked about those 3 tablespoons of sugar that I left. So I'm going to use some of that. And I like to hit it with sugar because I want that first hit to be sweet. And some of this will kind of dissolve in the liquid, but that is just perfect. Beautiful. And I'm going to set that aside because I'm going to top off my plate. Doesn't that look great? All right, so now we got to cut that. And unfortunately for me, I have to taste it. So, oh yeah, that came out. I can tell right now it's perfect. Yeah. So here we go. This is we'll see how well this is. That first one's always the brutal one to come out, so. Forgive me, it's live TV here, guys, so I'm going to do the best I can. Hey, look at that. Look at that. Out of there. I have to say that came out easier than I thought it was good. And then what I like to do, I like to hit it with a little bit more sugar. Which is great. And then, you know, you can use some different berries depending on what's in season. So you hit it with a few blueberries. Yeah, and there you go. Isn't that great?
That looks really good.
That is good. And then, of course, you know, unfortunately, I have to eat this myself, and then you guys can't taste it. So I always call it the cooking Italian Joe smell-o-vision, taste-o-vision, but I mean, that is just, isn't that great? Here, ready, guys? Go. Oh yeah. Immediately hit you with the sugar, that powdered sugar on the top, and then you're getting hit with the strawberries, and then the cream, then that's sweet, and then you're just getting layers as you're chewing the ladyfinger because they've been soaked in the strawberries. You're getting that and a little bit flavor of the prosecco, a little bit of the nutmeg. Absolutely perfect. Yeah, that tastes good. I'm going to get this one. I wanted to try with the blueberry just to make sure we all got the full experience.
Jenna says you have a really tough job.
That is absolutely perfect. And, you know, the ladyfingers, what's great on those is they're just little sponges. So as Maria knows, you know, certain foods, like a lot of times they'll be replaced with a sponge cake, but you when you put that in something, It just absorbs it. Maria, like certain cakes over in Italy, I don't know what your experiences were when you were growing up, but I remember my grandmother taking those sponge cakes and she would put a fork in it about 100 times, and then she'd bury it with rum or limoncello or some kind of liqueur, you know, and then layer it with some kind of, you know, Italian pastry cream of some sort.
Yes, yes, I know. Those were the birthday cakes. Actually, that was our birthday cake with the sponge cake. You know, we always used to gather in the kitchen, all my cousins together when it was somebody's birthday, and she'd make this birthday cake, just like you said, sponge cake. It did have rum and that Italian cream. Oh my gosh. I mean, we make the Italian cream, but it still isn't like hers.
Yeah.
Don't know what she did, but you know, they have a secret, whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We made I made a flourless, the flourless cake from Capri, and I just posted that. But I had met with quite a few different women and older women in Italy over the last few years, and I take all these notes. And again, you know, it's a real simple, as you know, you're a much more accomplished baker than I am, but. So you take those equal ingredients, but you talk to a couple nonas, they do a couple of flakes of lemon zest. You get one person that puts a little coffee in there to heighten the, you know, just a little, like a little splash, because like you're saying, you have this dish somewhere and it's just so incredible. And then you're trying to make it, but it's those little things, those little nuances, that little trick they do that it just changes everything. So, and you just can't reproduce it unless you know the trick. So
exactly. Yes, they do have those little tricks.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Well, thanks so much, guys. So we're gonna have the recipe posted up on the website. I'll have it up on Cooking Italian with Joe. I'll send Maria some of the information because I know a lot of you guys follow Maria, and I want to make sure she's got some information as well. And then Maria, what I'd like to do, I know you and I were kind of touching base on it. When I'm out in Italy, it'd be a lot of fun if we could do something when I'm out there. Maybe do a quick Zoom recipe or something out there, maybe in the next few weeks. So
yes. So how long will you be there for? 2 weeks?
Yeah, we're going to be out there for a month.
Oh wow, what a shame!
For the whole month.
What a shame! I feel so sorry for you.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking at the weather's absolute right now. It's absolutely fantastic. So it's going to be great.
It's beautiful now.
Yeah, it really, July and August are definitely. Yeah, we got a couple other questions. Go ahead, Vito.
Yeah, so Annika asked, can I grill or toast sponge cake and use that instead of ladyfinger? Sure, you could. Why not? Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, and if you caramelize it, I mean, if you took some like clarified butter, I mean, I'm just thinking out loud, if you took some clarified butter and put it in like a cast iron pan, just like a tablespoon or two, and then, you know, you could grill it and get like a little crisp caramelized on the outside of that, would be fantastic. Also, you can like, I've seen this served with different types of fruit. So you could do like a peach or a pear, and you could, a lot of times they'll grill that. You could use a fig, grill some of the fig and do it, you know, it's, yeah, you could use anything, so. Annika's very excited for the recipe, and Jenna says that sometimes they use rum cakes.
Yeah, so that's why we use Prosecco, but you can use, like Maria was saying, you could use a limoncello. You could use some other types of different liqueur. They'll make a limoncello, if you will. They'll make it out of oranges, which is delicious, cherries. They make that liqueur out of really just about anything over there, which is great. The Italians make something out of everything. I mean, if you're a pig and you get slaughtered, you're gonna have brain and feet. If you're fruit, you don't stand a chance either. You're gonna be made into some kind of a liqueur or a dessert or something. So for sure. Any other thoughts, Vito? Any other questions?
I think that's gonna do it.
Maria, it was great to hear your voice.
Thanks, you too.
Sorry you got locked out of your test kitchen. I'll post everything.
Yes, please do. Thank you so much. Thanks for inviting me anyway.
Oh my God, are you kidding me? Yeah, absolutely.
Have a great trip, and yes, please. I'm. You know what? I'm really curious to know how everything is there. So yes, please let me know.
Will do, for sure. Yeah, we do a lot on the Cooking Italian with Joe Facebook page,
right.
And on our YouTube page, we post a lot of like live videos and such. So, but I'll talk to you directly and privately, and then we'll see what we can put together. So
definitely let me know. Great.
And thanks for all the guests, and we'll post everything. And you guys have a great day. As I always say, from my kitchen to yours, until next week. Mwah! Buon appetito. Thanks, guys.